was cold, alone, I couldn't see that you were right there waiting. And I was sinking down and out of reach. I'm not a heart worth saving, but you won't let it be, let it be. When you say that we were coming around, and you won't let it be, let it be. Oh, I can still remember the scene, and we were dancing on a memory. I don't wanna love you no more, and I don't know if you were everything, but please don't take me out of your heart. It's that kind of love we couldn't keep. I don't want it falling apart, 'cause I don't wanna feel like dying. You always told me don't let it go. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down. Try to find the light in misery. I'm hiding my hesitation. You flew too high. If I could only see all the time that we wasted, but you won't let it be, let it be. When you say that we were coming around, and you won't let it be, let it be. Oh, I can still remember the scene, and we were dancing on. That kind of love we couldn't keep. I don't want it falling apart, 'cause I don't wanna feel like dying. You always told me don't let it go. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down, I'll let you down. I'll never let you down. Tired of hollow hearts. I'm tired of fixing scars that don't belong to me. You're all I need. I don't wanna fight, I don't wanna fall. Standing on the end of it all. Tether me to reality. I feel it in my body. It's you. When the world is falling apart, I only need you. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting.
Something amazing is about to happen. Oh,
This is music right here. Okay, that's the sample.
okay.
Your song's right there. So,
Jeez and crow.
I'm giving you the range right now because I have to go change.
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. All right, so enter studio. Okay. Enter studio.
It's just you guys, and then again, we'll introduce Joey after, all right?
Wait, say that again?
We'll introduce Joey after. Okay.
All right, so what do you need me to do?
So just intro the show, right? Again, so you turn the music down, turn your mic on, just start talking. And introduce the show. So get started.
And then
everything else, banners and everything are all right here.
I don't know if I can do this.
If you want to look at it real quick before you start it, go ahead.
I'm so nervous. Go ahead. So, and it is ringing. Out of range. Let's try this again. Wrong button. You said showstart was there.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Why? There's so much.
Is it too close?
I've never had this happen before.
I jinxed it.
Forrest, you broke it.
Florida man has struck. You want to put me in second place?
No, you're fine. What? Oh! I know what it is.
Figure it out.
No. Why can it still hear us? Oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
I figured it out.
Now what?
Hold on.
Everybody's getting such a laugh.
I know. Everybody's laughing at us right now. We're not professionals.
Hell no.
You do me a favor, turn on my mic.
Turn up your mic.
Turn it on. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I 100% apologize for what's happening right now. But it is now time to start the show. So, Forrest, if you please. Other one. That one. Go. No, turn it off. It is now time to start.
We're going to get this thing right.
You should have just did it with your voice.
Should I unmute it on my end now? Okay.
Do not unmute that.
Distance nerding.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, can you even believe it? I bet you can. You want to know why? Because Force at last has invaded California, and Force is live on Distance Nerding.
morning. Let's freaking go. Woo! I am Forrest, and I am joined by the husband, gorgeous, beautiful, and I love it with all of my non-bearded heart, Graveyard.
Hey, and our main man of the show up here is young Phil.
And yes, sir, it is true. I am flanked to my side by the Fours, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, may the Fours be with you. Oh, I'm gonna say his tagline for him. And hold on, real quick. Right there. Oh man, this is intense.
Yeah, you're muted there, Forrest.
No. He's supposed to be because he's
okay.
He's in studio. The reason we were getting all that feedback before was because that mic was on.
Yeah, but y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the build. It was a rough start right there, and mostly because I'm still half in my work uniform, and I just said forget it. I'm just gonna continue wearing it.
And I just got here like 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, so he got here a little bit late. It's okay. We're fine. It's okay. We're everything is fine. How are you doing? How are you? God, guys, again, rough start today. A lot going on. This is the first time Forrest is like a second day, but in California.
Yup.
And he is flanking me to my side right now. He's in studio for the build. It is magic. But on top of that, we have an amazing guest on today. And before we introduce him, because I got to get him on, but before we introduce our amazing guest, we got to do some housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to talk about the things that keep the lights on. The lights on right there. Okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start it off with Pod Decks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pod Decks, our unique interview, question, and episode starting prompt in the palm of your hand. So whether you are a new broadcaster or an existing podcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddecks.com. Now, guys, use the code NERDING10 and get 10% off your order. It is completely awesome. We're going to be using Pod Decks tonight. Of course, Graveyard is familiar with the Pod Decks life. And he's got some things in store for that too. So guys, check out Pod Decks. Head over to poddecks.com and use that code NERDING10 to get 10% off.
Well worth it. Well worth it,
right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have no choice but to give a shout out to Dubby.
It's on the other side. It's like the third page on the thing. So you see up there, arrows on the top, right there, and it's the blue page.
Oh wait, we're at it. Someone had control of it.
Sweet. There we go. All right.
So Dubby is an emerging brand of energy drinks created to help focus concentration reaction time with no jitters or crash. Dubby contains no maltodextrin, sugar, fillers, artificial colors, or dyes. Now, you may be asking yourself right now, what makes Dubby different from other gaming supplements? Well, I'm going to tell you. Dubby is one of the few drinks that contains Neurofactor, a nootropic derived from the coffee fruit. Neurofactor helps give your brain focus and clarity, while the 150 milligrams of caffeine and 3 essential B vitamins help you to stay alert and energized. Find out more about Dubby at www.dubby.gg. That was almost like Johnny from Cobra Kai. www.dubby.gg / Holy wait a second. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Master Roshi has followed me all the way here. You're damn straight that I did. You're going to use code NERDING10 for your 10% off of Dubby. You really think that I wasn't going to follow you there, young man? You should know me better than that. I've got the Nimbus Cloud for crying out loud. All right, Master. Well, it's been good to see you. Now go back to Florida. Okay, bye.
You know, he hangs out on an island and he's a pervert, but he comes to California when time calls.
All the way to Cali just to follow me here.
Yeah. It's awesome. And we're getting double Fours action right now. You see Fours in both screens right now. It's great.
Get out of that. Cam, I love you, brother. I love you.
Oh, man.
I love your comments and I love your face, even though I haven't seen your face in a minute.
So, in my haste, give me 1 second here. I actually didn't have my introductions or anything open. So I'm gonna go and pop that open real quick. And of course, this thing is.
Oh my God! Whatever this is, it's carbtastic.
It actually doesn't have very many carbs in it.
It's so fake carbtastic. Yes, Cam. I will be trying like a shot glass of it.
Right. Maybe not a shot glass. He's gonna drink out of my thing here.
Oh, I get to share.
Is there 2 straws in 1 cup?
There actually are, two, and it's 2 dudes, 1 cup.
Mm-hmm.
Not as exciting as 3 beards, 1 cup.
3 beers, 1 cup would be amazing.
Yes.
All right, so now that we're here,
This show's gone straight.
ladies and gentlemen, our guest is the voice of Whisper in Yokai Watch, Butch the Cat, and Droopy Dog in Tom and Jerry. He's Alistair in Ratchet and Clank, A Crack in Time, and many others. Besides his work voicing characters in animated cartoons, movies, video games, and anime, Joey was also WGN TV's Bozo the Clown in Chicago from 1984 to 2001.
Unreal.
Someone that our resident our resident Graveyard is familiar with, being from the Chicagoland area.
Yes.
He was also a frequent contestant on the original Gong Show and actually won the Gong Show trophy and his act, Dr. Flamo. If you guys don't know Dr. Flamo, look it up. It's definitely
absolutely. It's fantastic.
An act he later repeated on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the one, the only, the amazing Joey D'Aria. Woo!
Let's go.
Oh, hey,
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Yes. How are you?
Excited. Very
Oh,
excited. A little too much excitement over the past 48 hours, but this tops it off.
Well, it
I was
has
just thinking that.
been a crazy time. I don't think I would have been able to have gotten through Gem State Comic Con without your help. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Man, I and it was more than a pleasure to help you with everything, all the help that you needed throughout that entire show.
That was a lot of fun. A lot of great people out there.
I was going to say, you repaid us with a lot of great stories, impromptu stories that were outside of your interview, and it was great.
Well, I mean, you were all there behind me while I was working. So, I mean, I went, all right. And I'd stick my head through the curtain and yell something at you. I don't know.
Yeah. Because like we would be just like, kind of ad-libbing on stage, and he would go, I have a story. I'm like, come on the stage and tell us your story. I want to hear the story. Like one of my favorite ones, and we'll get into this later, but one of my favorite ones was we were talking about we were getting ready for Costanzo for his interview to come on. We were talking about Batman, and we were asking everybody, hey, who's your favorite Batman? Who was your favorite Batman? And one of the guys in the crowd goes, he just goes, 66 Batman. I was like, so Adam West. And Joey just comes out of the curtain out of nowhere like, I have an Adam West story. I'm like, oh my God, come up here. Story. I was like, I was not expecting that, and I'm excited for it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's some wild stuff, some really crazy stuff. I'm waiting for you to ask me something. Is that
right? Sorry, I'm actually changing my camera at the same time here.
Joey, it's crazy for me because I mean, I grew up with your show, so hearing your voice right now today is really taking me back. It really is. I mean, so
yeah,
I very much appreciate all your media contributions.
Well, I have to say there was a very thin line. Yeah, there was a thin line between me and Bozo, and the last 10 years, I slowly erased that line. So
did you really?
It became, oh yeah. My wife and I were out to dinner one night at a family restaurant, and my wife said something funny, and I laughed, which was sort of, and my wife said, in the restaurant, stood up and looked,
Yeah, it's one of those memorable things.
Was,
So the question. So here's my question.
Yeah.
When that happened, the people who stood up and looked around, were they all over the age of 30?
No. Back then, they were all under the age of 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, this was relatively early in the years. I've been talking to a lot of friends in Chicago. I'm kind of hoping to get out to C2E2 out there. So we'll see what happens.
It'd be fun to have you back in the Chicago area.
It would be. It really would. You know, the thing is, I just started with the whole con thing this year. Gem State was my first con as myself. I did 2 cons in San Diego at the San Diego Comic-Con. One for the opening of Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time, and I was there on a panel with the rest of the cast.
I said congratulations on that role, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a great role. I had a lot of fun. And the second time was when we were kicking off Yokai Watch, but Disney put it on the Disney Channel and then buried it. So we didn't get the kind of play that we would have liked.
I'm sorry, they bury things. I hadn't. Phil, did you have any idea about that?
That's not something that Disney does.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Oh boy, we're lost on our channel.
So, Joey, I do have a question as it pertains to voice acting, because I mean, unfortunately, I've gone 40 years of my life. I've always wanted to be a voice actor. That's kind of always been like a dream of mine. When I was a very young child, stupidly enough, when I was a very young child, I wanted to be a character on Heathcliff, if you recall that. And then as I got older and I was introduced to anime, I wanted to be a voice actor in anime. And then, kids, wife, things, family happened, and got involved in other hobbies and everything. But, even now, over the age of 40, I still wish to at some point be behind the microphone for an animated character, or even for an illustration. So if you were going to give advice to anybody, no matter what their age is, who tell you they want to be a character on some sort of show, what advice would you give them?
Well, it's rather difficult to aim for a pre-existing show, because pre-existing shows are already cast. And occasionally what they do is they bring on, for instance, I've done a couple of voices on The Loud House, which is a major Nickelodeon show. You need a good agent. That's one thing. You need a demo that demonstrates all of the different voices and accents that you do. But I kind of got into the voiceover thing kind of backwards. I was working at Universal Studios back when they had the tour, and it was in the mid 70s, the late 70s, when the Frank Langella Dracula movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. And back when Frank Langella was really good looking, okay? But it was so long back when I was really good looking. That's another story.
Don't talk about yourself that way. You're still very good looking.
It.
Oh, stop! Really? But they had an attraction at Universal Studios called Castle Dracula, and it was a makeup show. Basically, the whole story was Dracula's castle is there, and he takes 2 beautiful young women out of the audience, and we take them backstage, and we put them in girl vampire costumes. And at one point, the boyfriend of one of the girls tries to intervene, but he's captured by Renfield, which I played, and is on the rack. And all of a sudden, we have this voiceover, which is not the young actor the young man that we pulled out of the audience, but it says, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry."
Oh my gosh!
Does that Does that sound familiar to you?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
And what would happen is the rack would burst, and the studio member would disappear, and out would come a bodybuilder painted green who looked like the Incredible Hulk, who would chase me across the stage. That was the whole Castle Dracula show.
It's like I was in the building.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
It was a hilarious show. It was written by a fellow by the name of Vern Langdon. Vern had a wrestling studio called Slammers in Burbank, and he trained wrestlers. But he was also an accomplished pianist, and he had several recordings that he did of music.
Okay.
And he had worked for, the company that made the rubber monster masks, the full Don Post Studios.
Yeah.
He worked for Don Post Studios making these monster masks. So he had quite a background. And Vern was a great guy and a good friend. And I got in the show and was working with Richard Epcar. I don't know if that name might mean something to a lot of your viewers. Richard Epcar is the voice of Bobo, and Richard has got so many anime credits. Bobo. That was it.
Yeah.
And let's see. He also did the Lupin the Third character. He was in the Lupin the Third series. He did a lot of stuff, and he was doing looping back in the 70s. And he said, "Hey, you have a funny voice," and he said, "Would you like to come in and try to do some looping?" And that was it. He and his wife would direct a lot of these projects. A lot of them were Spanish cartoons, Korean cartoons, Japanese cartoons. There were German films. There was an Italian series, and they were looking for actors with different voices. And Richard had a whole bunch of us, and we would show up at this studio at 10 o'clock at night, and we would work from 10 to 6 in the morning. And we would dub these cartoons. There was one cartoon called The Three Musketeers, based on the Three Musketeers, but old one. Yeah. And I got the voice of Cardinal Richelieu, who was a wolf, and I did that voice. But the character only showed up every now and then, so Richard would throw me in for different characters. Do the voice of this pig, he's a baker. Do this rabbit, he's a farmer. Do this, do this duck, he's a court jester. I mean, they kept, throwing different characters at me. And,
Right.
This way I was able to get a few days' work. Then one day I got this panicked call from Richard. "I know how I said you weren't going to be working tonight, but guess what? All of the townspeople that you have voiced are all going to petition the king."
Oh,
And
wow.
I had to go in and do about 20 different voices.
So you're just not prepared for that at all.
that was yeah, it was, and that's how fast it was. But it was then that I got I got Bozo the Clown, and I moved to Chicago and was there for 17 years. And when the show ended, I went back to LA, and I looked up a lot of my old friends. I looked up Richard. I looked up Rocky Solotov, who was a director at Universal at the time. And a lot of them put me in touch working on projects. And that's where I met Mark Risley, who he was directing a children's video game, and I did a couple of voices on that. And he later brought me in for the Mr. Men show, and he brought me in for Space Racers. And he has a couple of other projects, which I'm afraid I can't talk about. I have a non-disclosure thingy.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Keep your secrets then.
yeah, but I may be going. I may have to go into LA in May to record some stuff there. So
Oh my gosh,
it's
that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how you got into voice. I want to know, you've been doing this for about 50 plus years, right? So how did you get into this business? Did you go to school to act? Was it something you always wanted to do?
Well, yes, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. Couple of people. Well, for instance, one of the people I graduated with was let's see, Ernie Thomas, who was on the show What's Happening. Donna Pascal. Yeah, Donna Pascal was in the show. Well, she was in Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta, and she's done a number of Disney things. And dear me, there was one other very attractive young lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was in that show where they're all drinking martinis. What is that?
Town?
Cheers?
No. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. Anyway, but Danny DeVito was a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Interesting.
The voice of Winnie the Pooh, Sterling Holloway, was a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. He was the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
I thought you were going to say Jim.
And
for a second there, I thought you were.
But he graduated the same year. I'm sorry.
I said I for a second I thought you were going to say Jim Cummings,
the current voice of Winnie the Pooh.
No.
Yeah,
he's the current voice. But Sterling
Holloway, who's also Kaa in Jungle Book.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And Sir Hiss in Robin Hood.
Yes.
And wasn't he the Chester Cat?
No. Sir Hiss. No, that was Terry Thomas. Sorry, that was Terry Thomas. But Edward G. Robinson graduated the same year as Sterling Holloway. Oh my gosh, I'm mentioning names that you people don't know. Okay. I'll try to keep my references to a minimum. But
geek out on the show.
Geek out.
Sir.
That's what you're here for.
At a maximum.
Yes, we need you to geek out on everything.
Well, you might remember Edward G. Robinson from Soylent Green.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
Soylent Green is people.
Yes.
So,
but so that was it.
So, did you start with stand-up comedy? Because I've seen your Flamo act. I'm a Northwest Indiana resident, so I grew up watching you on Bozo. So, did you start with stand-up? Is it something you do?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm an actor. I wanted to act, but in LA, the only way to get a casting director to look at you is you have to be doing stand-up comedy. And so I worked with a comedy partner. We did a couple of comedy clubs. It never really helped us. But while I was taking an improv class, a guy came in and said, "Hey, Chuck Barris is so desperate for acts for the Gong Show. He's paying after minimum, which was $150, which back then was my rent." And I figured if I could come up with one stupid act a month, I'd have my rent taken care of. And yes, I was living in Beverly Hills in a $150 a month apartment.
Now that is completely unheard of.
Yeah, I know. But a friend of mine found the apartment for me, and she said, "Yeah, this is the cheapest thing I could find," and it was Beverly Hills. And it was a studio apartment with a Murphy bed and a hot plate and a little half fridge. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, but I would come up with different acts, and Dr. Flamo was a big hit, and Chuck Barris liked it so much he had me back several times. And let's see. From there, I was working for Milt Larson, the fellow who founded the Magic Castle, and he asked me to do the act on stage because Jim McCulley, who was Johnny Carson's casting director, was going to be there to look at a couple of magicians, and one magician did a very messy act, so they needed time to clean the stage. So I was to go in front of the curtain and do Dr. Flamo, which I did. And Jim McCulley was in the front row, and he had two guests with him. He had Tim Conway and Harvey Korman.
Oh wow.
from the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah.
And Tim Conway laughed so much he fell under the table. And,
What?
and as I was putting my stuff away, Milt Larson came up to me and said, "Jim McCulley wants to talk to you. He's in the bar. They want to book you on the Tonight Show." And that's how I got the Tonight Show. And it was the Tonight Show tape that I sent to Chicago that got me Bozo the Clown.
Wow.
Because, yeah, they
Wow.
looked at that tape and they said, "By golly, that's the kind of man we want entertaining children."
That's exactly
I
what
mean,
I thought. Like, that's the first thought that came to my head was, yeah, this is a great person to entertain children. Just
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously Dr. Flamo came first, which then eventually
Yeah.
led into the role of Bozo for you.
Mhm.
So that's a great story. I mean, that's interesting how it all worked out in that path. you know. But let's talk a little bit about Bozo. So the outfit. What was it like getting in there, makeup? How long did that process take for you to get into that costume?
Well, I've done stage makeup. I have done all kinds of stage makeup. It didn't take too long to do it. You just cover the face with the white grease paint. You draw on the mouth, the white lip. You go around the eyes with the black. And the first time I did it, it took me a good hour to get it right. And then eventually, once I started the show, I could knock it out in about 25 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how tired I was.
Interesting. So you did your own makeup then?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Going for us.
So, sir, do you happen to keep up with any of the young people you've interacted with on the show over the years? Do any of them ever reach out to you and just kind of talk?
Well, when you say young people on the show, I hear from our director. There was Barbara Shikami, who was our floor director. My wife and I hear from her. Andy Matran is an old friend who played the keyboard on the show, and Robin Urich, who played Rusty the handyman, sadly passed away about 3 months ago.
Okay, sorry,
but my friend Michelle Gregory, who played Tunya, she lives in LA with her husband. And last time I was in LA, I saw her and Steve. But that's about it. There aren't many of us left.
So after the show, there was still a decent amount of camaraderie, basically.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, we were all good friends. We were having terrific fun. And Roy Brown, who played Cookie, used to say, if we're not having fun, the audience isn't having fun.
Right.
Right.
Roy used to bridle when people called the show a kids show, because as far as Roy was concerned, we were a family show. And it's true. We did jokes that, everybody got on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, like I said, I grew up watching you. My sisters saw your show when you were there. My co-host or my other podcast, he was sitting next to the guy in the crowd with the interview, picking for Bozo buckets. So with Cookie and stuff like that, I've seen some past interviews that you say Bozo is the straight man, and that's very vaudevillian to me. So was that the direction you were given, or is that something you were able to go through and pick vaudeville acts and just bring that to life?
That was something that I immediately picked up when I started watching the show. Now, again, I was living in LA. I didn't live in Chicago, but I knew what a Bozo show was. Clown, kids, cartoons. But the Chicago Bozo show was the most unique of any of them, because they did comedy routines. And I had some friends from Chicago who had a giant VCR, one of these 1980s vintages with the tapes the size of a Gideon Bible, and they started recording Bozo shows for me, and then I'd go over to their house in the afternoon and I'd watch them. And the first time I watched it, I went, "Oh, this guy has to be Abbott to his Costello," So that was immediately the vibe that I got. And when they were holding auditions for the show after Bob Bell retired, they were getting birthday party clowns, they were getting jugglers, they were getting ex-circus clowns, Venice Beach street entertainers, people who did not understand the dynamic of, as you put it, vaudeville and burlesque style comedy.
Right.
And what happened for me was I walked into the studio on the first day, and Roy Brown looked at me and he said, I broke my leg in 3 places. And I said, don't go in those places. And that was, right away. He went, He said, so far, so good. And that was it. Basically, he and I would look over the material. Roy would tell me what gags he wanted to do so that I could give him the right straight line so he could get the joke out. And that was it. And that made it fun for me because I have always been a big fan of, the comedy of people like Abbott and Costello and the Ritz brothers and the Marx brothers. We were sort of burlesque like Abbott and Costello, but once Robin Urich came into the show, we took on a whole madcap Marx Brothers vibe. It was totally nuts, and Robin was such a brilliant improviser that he would throw out some of the funniest lines during rehearsal, and then not use them once we were in front of an audience.
Huh.
And one day I said, you were funny, but that line you threw in rehearsal was so much funnier. Why didn't you do that? And he said, oh, I don't know. He says, I feel that if I've done it once, then it's over. And I went, no, you find something that works and you use it. And if you don't,
comedy works.
I will use it.
Right.
And this day I threw one of his jokes. He went, oh, that was a funny joke. So yeah, I did remember.
Like I said, that's not how comedy works. You got to do it over and over and over again and see if it kills.
Or you get killed by it.
Or you,
and that's why. Yes. Well, you see, the thing is, though, in the days of vaudeville, comedians would travel all over the world, honing their jokes, and for instance, Flip Wilson, the comedian Flip Wilson, he did his comedy in nightclubs, and then when he was given a television show, the problem with television is that it eats up your material because you're now doing one joke for millions of people, as opposed to taking that one joke and doing it for an audience in New York or Chicago or Florida. So you just get enough. You don't get enough bang for your buck if you're working in television because, like Flip Wilson said, it eats up your material.
So, what was your typical filming of the show like? How long was the entire process? The show was what, about? I don't remember how long the show was.
Well, it depends. It was a 2-hour show when I came to Chicago. It was a 2-hour show, and we were on 5 days a week. And what we would do is we would get there at 7 a.m. We'd read through the scripts. Then we would go back into the dressing rooms, put on our costumes and makeup, go back into the studio, walk through the bits with the cameraman there and the director so that they'd know where we would be standing. Then we would go back into our dressing room. They would bring in the first audience. We'd go out. We'd do the show. And as the audience went out, we shook hands with everybody and took pictures. And after they left, we went back into our dressing room, ran to the cafeteria, grabbed a bite to eat, went back into the studio, went through the same stuff again for the second show. And I would be there from 7 o'clock in the morning till like 5 or 6 at night, depending on how things got done, or if there had been any technical glitches that stopped recording. But then we went to a period where we would only do 5 shows a week. But the reason why we did two was that the ones that we did during the week were for the following week, and then the second series of 5 were put into a bank and would be saved for like our summer show. so they would get fresh shows, but we would be on vacation and we wouldn't be in the studio. So we would work like half a year. Then later, when the show went to Sundays, we only worked 3 days a week, and we would just knock out shows from September to I think around mid-January, and that would carry us through.
Oh wow, yeah, because I only was able to watch your show, growing up as a kid when I was sick, so I was make sure I'd watch it then. But yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, my sisters had gone to one of the shows with the Girl Scout troop in the area, and I never got a chance to go see it live. Unfortunately, I really wish I had. So
it was a lot of fun. It was fascinating.
Nice.
So there was a story that I told at the con. We had a guest on the show from the rodeo. The big rodeo came to Chicago, and this young lady comes in with 2 border collies and about 6 sheep, and basically she was going to give a demonstration of the border collies moving the sheep from one side of the studio to the other. To make it even more interesting, the border collies had saddles on them.
Oh, God.
And sitting on the saddle were Capuchin monkeys wearing cowboy suits.
Oh,
and little cowboy hats.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, now I know if you're working in a rodeo, it's a loud situation, but it's not as loud as a lot of screaming children that close to you in a brightly lit studio. The sheep panicked and the dogs panicked, and the sheep ran out the door, down the hall, and onto the news set while they were doing the afternoon news broadcast. Meanwhile, the dogs chased Barbara Shikami, who was our floor director, across the stage and put her into the cage at the far end of the hall. It was a wild time.
That sounds wild.
Wow.
Yeah. So hold on. How did the Capuchins react?
They looked terrified. They're holding onto the horn on the saddle with their eyes as big as saucers and just flashing very sharp teeth, like ah.
Because like, if you ever seen a Capuchin when they're scared, it's not a pretty sight.
No, I think there was a horror movie. Wasn't there a horror movie about a guy who's a paraplegic and he's got a monkey to kind of help him take care of himself, and the monkey ends up really terrorizing him? I can't remember that movie.
I don't know, but I don't think Stephen King would touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, it's that movie's called The Hangover 2. And that's when anytime a monkey plays with a weenus, it's funny in any language.
Yes.
Well,
it's what they do.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that. Oh, was Monkey Shines?
Yes, that was it.
This man, I swear, this man will know any obscure horror movie because he watches all of them.
You will know all of them. So, Joe, I have a question. Another question for you. Is there anything upcoming that you've been more or less made privy to that you show an interest in doing? Like, is there something that is there a series, or is there an animated special or an animated movie or something that you would really like to be part of and you would maybe pitch for it?
I was wondering where you were going to go with that, because I was like, NDAs, man.
Yeah,
that stuff is currently involved.
The thing is,
wants to.
There's nothing that I can pitch myself to. I have an agent, and if there's something that she thinks I'm right for, she sends me the materials, and I have my recording booth right there.
Wow.
And so I'm able to knock out my auditions and send those in, which is the one thing you were talking about wanting to do cartoon work. Unless you're living in LA, it would be very difficult for you to try to start a career living somewhere else. Now, I have a great many friends who have been in the business as long, if not longer, than me, who have finally said, it's too wacky living in LA, and have moved to other places.
Right.
And have ended up building studios in their new homes, and are still able to work. I would love to be a part of anything involving Star Wars right now. I've actually I've done a couple of.
I said, there it is.
No. Yeah. Well, there it is. But I mean, I've auditioned for a couple of animated Star Wars things and a couple of voices for robots and things like that. But you just send them off. It's like bread on the water. The duck eats it. That's it. And hope it floats back.
One day, Joey's gonna play a droid, and it's gonna be the most memorable droid in Star Wars.
Just thinking that. I was like,
Yes.
he's a really good droid voice. Dude,
Get out of my. I just auditioned for one, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Like I said, one day he's gonna voice a droid, and it's gonna be the most memorable droid in Star Wars.
Yes.
I'm saying it now, here and now.
So on distance learning first.
Okay.
So with all your voice work you've done for animation and video games, is there a big difference between those two for you, or do you approach them the same way, or do you get like the game footage to kind of impart your voice onto?
Well, for instance, when I was doing Tom and Jerry, or I was doing Nickelodeon, I'd be given the script, and I might be able to ad lib something, or do a reading differently than how it was on the paper, put the emphasis on a different word, because they're going to take my voice and they're going to animate around my voice. Whereas when you're working with anime, everything is there, and you have got to try to make everything fit in that number of lip flaps that you get.
And you better hope that translator is really good.
Yeah, well, and I have done, when I was doing Yokai Watch, they would give me a speech for Whisper that was based on the Japanese translation, and so I would do it, but it was not enough lip flaps, and so the director would have to stop, and we would have to literally cut down the sentence until it was. I think originally the sentences when, no, you don't understand, Nate. I can't do that. To eventually it became, no, I can't. And that was it.
Yeah.
Because there were only so many lip flaps. Then there were other ones
Mark Hamill.
where it would be,
It was.
It really was.
You sound. We all thought the same thing. That is very close to Mark Hamill as the Joker, and that's great.
I auditioned for 3 different penguins.
Really?
I auditioned for 3 different penguins. Never got them. Yeah. So I mean, there's that. Richard Epcar, I believe, is Joker in a video game. Yeah, I think so. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. So what about when working on video games? I mean, did you have more ad lib for you there, or they just give you the script and you go, this is the script?
I went up, when you go into a studio, and because you're not having to look at the animation. They give you the script. You can read the line at your own pace. It could be something like, I'm so angry. And then they, and they can say, can you speed that up? I'm so angry. And they go, yeah, that's the one. But if you're doing it with anime and you have to do the lip flaps, you have to go, I'm angry. Or, I am so angry. I mean, it depends on where the
That's lip flaps, right?
And they have the timer at the beginning, so it's like 3, 2, 1, beep, and then your line begins.
Yes, and then it's I have to say I'm very good at it. I don't like to brag, but I feel I must.
No, we're gonna
but,
need you to toot that horn a little louder.
Yeah. But that's it. It's a skill. It is a skill because not only do you have to be able to keep your eye on the screen, but you have to be able to keep another eye on the timer, and then another eye on the script, so that you can get it. Oh yeah. Now, fortunately, a lot of them are short lines. But if you have a character who has a very long speech to impart, you sometimes have to do that in segments because it's just so hard to keep the flow going.
Wow. I mean, does that help you, Forrest? Does that make you want to do it more?
So, really, really, really quick story. Back in 2006, I was able to meet Christopher R. Sabat from Funimation, and he held a Dragon Ball Z panel. So the following day, when we all showed up at the second day of the con, he had all of us come up individually to play a small part in one of the episodes. And the part he had me play was Trunks, and it was one sentence. And it was literally 3, 2, 1, beep, and then you say the line, and we had to know the line as we're watching the screen 30 feet above us. It was like an enormous screen, and we did the line, and it took me 3 takes to get it right. But it was I got to tell you, it was one of the most exciting parts of my lives. Not just to meet him, but to be able to do that. It's the closest I ever got to doing it professionally because it was an unforgettable experience. I loved every minute of it.
Sure. No, it's fun and it is exciting. And a lot of times I have no idea what I'm doing until I see the cartoon playback. And I was able to get a lot more personality into Whisper than I thought. Because, it's kind of constricting. Your performance has to fit the cartoon as opposed to having the cartoon fit your voice.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is like traditional animation, right? Right.
Yeah.
And I found growing up that actors from the 70s, 80s, and 90s really, in my opinion, just played better characters. I think characters had much more. I think voices back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s were just so much more animated. They had more emotion to them. It sounds like the actors had more fun in the studio fleshing these characters out, be it American animation or Japanese when they were dubbing stuff over, especially in the 90s. It just sounded better. It sounded a little more real. Some of the lines were
able to play.
Yes.
Yeah. But you were able to play, and you were able to play with your voice. You have no idea how many auditions that I get. For instance, you're reading for the role of Bob. He's a human cuckoo clock. And every now and then, in between words, he'll say cuckoo. And then they'd say, no cartoony voices, play it straight.
That sounds like so much fun.
What?
Yeah. I'm being sarcastic.
That sounds like a job for Mel Blanc.
I'm being sarcastic.
Well, yes, Mel Blanc would have been very funny and would have done a cartoony voice. No, they want it to be, yes, hello, I'm Bob. Cuckoo. I happen to be a human cuckoo. Cuckoo. And I mean,
that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Actually, now I'm sorry I didn't do it that way.
Trademark it now, Joey.
But yeah. So you see, there it is. There's so much regret. You only get one chance. Although believe it or not, I auditioned for Alistair Azimuth 3 different times. And the third time they hired me. So, I mean, that was it.
Wow. Interesting. So, we're going to start probably wrapping up things here, right, Phil, with this interview. But we want to get in to learn about Joey, right? So, in your opinion, what would be the worst movie sequel ever made? Like, Ben-Hur 2 or Titanic 2. What do you think would be?
Titanic 2 is the best one.
Little Shop of Horrors 2.
Actually, they did do Titanic 2. It was Raise the Titanic. Let's see. Worst movie ever. There's so many to choose from.
We had
Let's
somebody
see.
a while back that said Passion of the Christ 2 Resurrection reboot.
Oh gosh, stop it!
That had me dying.
Oh,
And then living again. Right?
Exactly.
oh. Well, on the subject of movies, I can give you my 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
let's hear
I've
it.
heard one. I've heard one.
All right.
Do it. I want to hear it.
All right. It's 1 degree. I went to high school with a girl who played Marcy in the first what's
Friday
the
the
one
thir-
with her at the lake?
13th,
Friday the
yes.
13th. Yeah, she was in the first Friday the 13th movie. She was in my high school class.
Oh,
Her
wow.
name was Janine LeBlanc, but she changed her name to Janine Taylor. And I heard a very funny story that she told our high school director, our high school theater director, and that was when they were making the movie, they were running low on cash, and they said, "Look, we might not be able to come up with your paychecks this week, but I'll tell you what, if you forego your paychecks for the next month, we'll give you a piece of the movie." And everybody went, "No, give us our checks."
Oh,
Big mistake.
Yeah.
What?
So you see, there you go. There's an actor's regret for you.
Yeah, I know.
all right. So next question then, as we're wrapping things up here, is what are you nerding out on currently? Is it the Mandalorian? You know, with one more episode left of the season, is there anything that you just like get really excited for?
Well, let's see. I finished the Mandalorian, and I was watching. I was watching Bad Bunch, but there's a new series called "Our Flag Means Death,"
Yes.
which is a pirate.
Yes.
And it's
TD.
Droopy.
Yes.
Yeah. But another thing that I nerd out on the most is an English game show called Taskmaster.
Yes.
And it is the funniest show. If you can find it on YouTube, It's called Taskmaster. Watch it. It's a riot. Somebody just said, I love that show. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So do I.
Amigo, who said I love that show?
Geeks.
It does Geek Saga. Yes.
Saga, yes.
Yeah. It people are obsessed with it, and I understand why. It's amazing. I'd love to do it myself. So
Yeah. Yeah, really.
all right, here's where we get into the really, really hard questions. Is
Here we go.
what is your favorite taco and what is your favorite taco spot?
That's hard to say. When I lived in LA, there's a restaurant called El Pollo Loco, and they make chicken tacos there. But I also like a wonderful Mexican restaurant called El Cholo, which is a great Mexican restaurant in LA.
I've heard of El Cholo.
But yeah, they're wonderful. But here in Idaho, I've been going to KB's, and they make a great steak taco and a fair margarita. I get it without the salt because I'm eating healthy.
Right.
I forgot who we asked, but somebody else mentioned KB Taco as well while we were down there and said it was amazing.
It might have been me.
I mean, someone other than you, because there was somebody else that mentioned it too, and it just made me think like, okay, we really need to go here because everybody's saying it's amazing.
Yeah, I have not. There are a lot of great Mexican restaurants in LA. I have not really had a chance to explore where the really good Mexican places are in Idaho yet. I haven't lived here that long yet.
All right. Ready for the next hard one? We know that
Sure.
Krusty the Clown is based off of Bozo the Clown. In the laugh off, who wins, Bozo or Krusty the Clown?
Ooh.
Oh, definitely Krusty. Definitely Krusty, because he was basically going up against Bob Bell. In fact, he based it on Bob Bell, Chicago's first Bozo the Clown, before I came in.
Right.
And And I came into the Bozo show very, very late in Bob Bell's career, and I watched some of his early shows where it was, "Hey kids, right about here." But as he got older, the voice got a little raspier because all those guys were chain smokers. All of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
kids, he's a clown.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like I said, all those guys, you would go into the studio with an audience, and Roy Brown and Fraser Thomas, would be behind the flats smoking cigarettes between scenes, and you'd see smoke coming up over the flat.
All right.
I don't know how
All right.
Bob Castanella hasn't like destroyed his throat doing that character for so many years.
So stuff that you can tell us about, what I know you have some NDAs in place. What's next for you that we can expect to see you in?
Well, right now, let's see. Well, right now, I've got these two things in particular which I can't talk about. Those are the next two things. One will start in May, hopefully, and then the other, which is sort of it's almost like a graphic novel brought to life. I'm telling you too much. All right, but but the other one is an animated piece, and I'm doing like 3 different voices in it, so I'm hoping that one gets started right away.
And he basically just told us he's in Marvel. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kidding.
All right. So where can signing off? Where can people follow you? Where can we learn about you? What are your handles that we can follow you? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
all the social.
I am on Facebook, but I'm probably going to have to start getting more of a sort of a media site. I haven't done that yet. I'm working on that now.
All right.
Nice. All right. Any more questions, gentlemen?
Is there any questions in the chat at all? Is there anybody in the chat that have any questions for Joey at all?
Let's just bring up some. We can bring up some chats. There's no questions right now, but yeah, Geek Saga says next time you're down here, he wants to take you out.
Is Geek Saga in LA? Where are you?
Yeah, Geek Saga. They're I want to say they're in the Valley.
I love the Valley.
Now you have Cam wants to check out KB Taco.
Yeah, but yeah,
and he also wants to run into you in public.
Geek Saga is in LA. He just put it down in the
Geek Saga's LA.
That almost sounds like a threat.
Oh, Cam.
LA. Okay, I love LA. Yeah. Right now, though, the newest thing for me is trying to get involved in the cons.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not having an agent handle me for this yet because I haven't found an agent who wants to handle me for this. But I'm going to be working on it and finding out what I can do.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And for all the agents out there, Joey's looking.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I am going to go to a Powerhouse Con in May.
Oh, so you're coming to our
and
neck
then
of
in
the
September. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's pretty up far north there. And then Meadowlark in I believe it's Oregon.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the next two on my schedule.
Nice.
Any chance you coming? You said you're talking about going to what con in Chicago again?
It's called E2. Was it C2E2? I think they've got one coming up in August. So I'm hoping to. I've been sending stuff out, and I've had several people who are were kind of sending out good words for me. So hopefully they'll think about me.
Phil will have to talk about me going to that one.
Well, you know what? We will find a way.
Please.
There is a will. We will find a way.
Yeah.
And that way you can meet Joey in person, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, he was,
Yeah.
He was, right down the street from me for 17 years.
Yeah. Well,
Granted, I was just born, but
I was living in Altadena. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Yes. Phil,
Yes,
want me to sign them out? So, Joey, this has been a really fun pleasure for me, especially. Like I said, I Northwest Indiana, Chicago. Like I said, I was born in '84. You were my bozo to the end.
Oh God, you were born when I started working.
Oh, good job, Graveyard.
I believe the gentleman below me, Bill and Delorean, is younger than me. So
that is true.
Okay.
That is true.
yes,
that particular gentleman is still a baby. So
Yeah.
so you're
Is
more
that
than
the DeLorean?
it is
Back to the
DeLorean.
Yeah.
building?
Yes.
Huh.
I'm actually working on Mr. Fusion right now. Here, I'll show you what we have so far.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Let's
I got
switch
it.
cam. Okay.
I got it.
We'll switch cameras here. There's a lot of detail in this thing, so it's pretty cool. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So far, this is it. I'm actually adding all the Back to the Future 2 stuff to it right now. But the under the hood right here, if you pull that up, it's got the hoverboard, and it's got the what's cool here is it's got the nuclear fusion box, right?
Mhm.
So it's got that with the fuel rods in it. On the back, so I did the 2015 now, but the 2015 license plate on the back of that.
Nice.
Right. Again, I showed you guys on this on the show last week, but if there's a button that you can press right here, if you look in, actually, let me turn it around. If there's a button that you press on the back, if you look inside the car right there.
Yep.
And the flux capacitor.
There it is. You see the flux capacitor.
Right. So the flux capacitor lights up right there. Again, it's got the gold wing doors. So doors open up right here. All right. And it's got everything on the inside. Again, right now I am building the
Thank you, Cam.
Right now I'm building Mr. Fusion. So if you guys remember this movie, right? And what's cool with this too is when you pop it open, it's got a soda can inside of it.
Banana peel?
And a banana.
Yes.
Right. So like, the Easter eggs in the car are also, like the Easter eggs from the movie are also in the car and in the toy. So this is
Nice.
I appreciate the amount of detail that they put into this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because Lego is really good about the small little details that they put into these things.
They've gotten so good over the years about that too.
Yeah. All right, Joey, if you want to stick around, we do a bracket for the second half of the show where we discuss. Right now, we're doing a Marvel MCU Universe Best Movie List. If you want to stick around, you're welcome to join us.
But we also
I would
understand.
love to, but I told my wife I was going to take her to dinner.
Yeah, I was gonna say we also understand if you've got somewhere you've got to be. We we get it here. So we 100% appreciate
it was just great chatting with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
100% appreciate you coming on the show. We love having you here. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. So when this mystery project that you're working on goes live,
when the mystery project comes out, you guys will be the first to know.
Oh, I love it.
I will tell you that. Yeah.
And then of course we will see you at Powerhouse Comic-Con next.
Oh, you're going to be at Powerhouse. Great.
Oh, we host all the Colossus Girl shows, so we will be at all of them.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah, so we'll also see you at Metal Art Comic-Con later on this year.
Terrific.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Joey.
Well,
So hopefully I get to meet you in person at one Chicago event.
Or
yes, that would be nice.
If we can ever find a way to get Graveyard out here,
if there's KyberCon 2024, I will be out there. So
We'll all be there.
Yes.
You'll find a way.
All right. Well, thank you, Joey. You have a great night. Enjoy your dinner.
It's an honor.
Thank you again.
Yeah,
for all
okay.
your advice.
Thank you for coming on, Joey. We highly appreciate you taking your time out to talk to us.
It was great to be here. Thank you all so much.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
you.
Night.
Good night.
I think this turns it off.
I love his sense of humor. It kills me.
Okay, so let me just before we continue, I gotta tell you all some stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's story time with Fours.
Okay.
All right. First of all, I think in the last 36 hours, I have experienced 6 firsts.
Okay.
I'm serious. So it was the first time that I have been anywhere west of Ohio.
Okay.
It was my first time ever being in California.
Okay.
Ever. It was my first time on a plane.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Which was nuts. My first time meeting my Kyber Cave family and distance nerding family. See, that's what, 4?
Yep.
No, it's 4 first. 4 first, but okay. So I told this story yesterday because, number 5, first time ever meeting Mrs. Fours in person, which was legendary. It was freaking legendary. Van, owner of Kyber Cave, and Steven, who helps him run the store, we went out to the karaoke where she was hosting, and it was just a complete blast. Like, I think, considering the fact that in Florida Eastern time, I was up at 6 a.m. Eastern time. By the time we got to karaoke, I had already been awake for 19 hours, and we went in there and just killed it. It was phenomenal.
Just rocked out with
Heck
your
yeah.
socks.
So I told this story there after I performed the first number, which, by the way, was Zoot Suit Riot.
Yes,
Which
I saw it.
Which was awesome.
I watched it.
And the story goes like this.
Zoot Suit Riot.
Yo, yeah. So the story goes like this. I'm getting on the plane as the connecting flight from Orlando to Salt Lake City to Sacramento. I get on the plane in Salt Lake City, and I let the flight attendant know I'm a first-time flyer, and she was already smiling ear to ear, because she was one of those flight attendants that like just doesn't stop smiling. She was just so super perky. So she's like, "Oh my God, this is so wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Oh, we have wings. Would you like a wing? Would you like wings?" And I'm sitting there like, "Well, freak yeah, I'd like wings. That'd be fantastic. Let me go put my stuff down." So I go to my seat and I put my stuff down. So she comes over and she hands me this really, really nice, got it right here. This official Delta, wing badge, and it was really cool. And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome! Thank you so much." And she's like, "Oh, of course, sweetie, that's wonderful." And she's she's walking away, and I was like, it would have been really cool if you had come over with a plate of buffalo wings. And she's like, "Oh, that's so funny." And here's the sad truth, at 42 years of age and a first-time flyer, I God honestly believed that they were gonna come over with a plate of wings for me as like this celebratory, first time flyers reward. Like, "Oh, here you go, have some wings." And I God honestly thought buffalo wings were coming my way.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
If only planes had stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
and
I would not want to eat it.
it'd be better than gas station wings.
Oh. But I literally had my hopes up that she was going to come over with like some either garlic flavored wings or some buffalo wings, because when she turned to her assistant, I saw that she was like, "Yeah, do we have wings?" And there was like bags just piled up, and it looked like they had styrofoam containers in it. So I honestly thought they had buffalo wings.
That would have been hilarious.
It was very embarrassing, but at the same time, it was so funny, and I got a story to tell from it. So that
did you get to meet the pilot, and did he ask you about your love of gladiator movies?
Did you get to meet
I did meet the captain. Really nice guy. First time flying experience was nuts. But like my brain is on overdrive right now because just so many new experiences all at once. I'm still on cloud nine from karaoke last night.
Reeling, right?
Oh, I can't believe I'm awake.
So check this out, guys. DeLorean's done.
Woo! Great Scott.
Now watch, check this out. This is my favorite part. My favorite part, right? From right here. Boom.
Wow.
Right? There's a little switch on the bottom right there.
Well, because where we're going,
roads.
We don't.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
But there are still roads.
The only problem the only problem here is Doc Brown is way too small for this car.
Yeah, because the DeLorean is a very small car in person.
Yeah.
Look, Doc Brown is very small here.
You could fit Aini, Jennifer, Marty, the whole family in there.
Wow.
But yeah, no. And again, Mr. Fusion on the back, so it pops up. Oh, sorry, right there, it pops up. Pop it back down. Just again, the small amount, like the small little details that this car has are just incredible. You know, so I'm very happy with this build right here. Now it does have the ability for me to switch out with the 1980s.
Yes.
Thing. And then all the different parts that are here that are still on the table are because you can build all three different versions of the car.
Yes.
But not at the same time.
No.
Oh, Husbeard.
Yes.
It's bracket time.
It is
bracket time.
It's bracket time.
It's bracket time. Oh my
And
god.
I just gotta say how amazing it was for us to have Gabriel Iglesias as his flight attendant. He's preparing for a role I didn't know about.
I don't think you're ever gonna see.
That's so funny.
All right, so we're still in our third week of the MCU bracket.
F through this.
We have not gotten through this. Next week, when it's just brackets, maybe depends.
Right now, guys, next week's show is going to be nothing but brackets. It's intense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm saving DC bracket for you and Frey to be on at the same time.
Because we're gonna be arguing through that entire bracket.
So, the summer of the DC bracket.
And it is. It's the whole freaking summer of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're still getting through. We had 32 movies starting off because I just had to add, all 32 that have come out. So where we're at right now is Civil War versus Thor: Love and Thunder.
Jeez, I'm crow. This was the last time I was on. I remember this.
Civil War versus Love and Thunder. I mean,
Yes.
I did like Love and Thunder. I'm not one again. I'm not one of the people who hated on it. There's a lot of people that hated on it. I actually enjoyed Love and Thunder. I watched it a few times. But Civil War, for being something that wasn't completely exactly what the comic was, but still executing it as well as they did, I think I'm gonna go with Civil War.
Yes, Cam, we'll have you on for the summer of DC bracket. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Fours?
I'm going to go with Civil War.
Okay.
Like I said, it was so well executed, you know, like for them not having mutants and being able to get that storyline as cohesive as they did. Because remember, in the comics, Civil War happened because of Cannonball, who's a mutant. Right. You know, he blew up an entire what was it? It was Stamford, Connecticut. He blew up like a school in Stamford, Connecticut for a reality TV show.
Right.
And so, like, you know, you have this whole situation with these guys. I think they were it was the New Mutants, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's
but
been
I mean,
forever since I read that.
Well, no. I mean, the guy, the mutants that were recording a show. the reality show that they were recording. I think the team that was a part of that was the New Mutants, and yeah, he ended up they ended up killing him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They ended up blowing up like a school, like an elementary school. And
Sounds like Campbell.
yeah, and it ended up being that's what prompted the superhuman what was it, the Superhuman Registry Act.
Yeah.
Right, Registration
Mutant
Act.
Registration Act.
Right.
Freaking
You know,
President Kelly.
and it was so like it was so well done in the comics because like you start getting this whole situation with Tony is like we need to be held responsible for the things that we do, and Steve, but it wasn't Steve because technically it was actually Bucky. We found out like, in the next series that it was actually Bucky that was in place of Steve, like impersonating Steve because Steve was dead at that point. Technically Crossbones had already killed him at that point, but I mean like he Bucky was basically like, well, you're gonna like if you expose everybody for who they are, and there's no secret identities anymore, you're putting people in danger. People are gonna die.
Right.
Families are gonna die because of this, and that was like the whole fight between the two of them. And I mean, for me, the most iconic thing was because like in the end, I was like, Steve needs to win the fight, and it we didn't exactly get what it was in the comics where like technically again it was Bucky, but Bucky literally beat the helmet off of Tony. Like he was beating Tony so hard that like he knocked his helmet off and he was about to kill him, and the people of New York had to stop him and make him realize that he was going too far. Right. And it was like, oh my God, I'm the bad guy, and he like backed down. Right. But I mean, like, the other piece to that was at the time when Civil War came out, we didn't have Spider-Man yet. Because remember, he got introduced in that movie at the last second. Because I remember Feige had just got the rights to him, and he was like, well, we're doing reshoots and we're putting him in Civil War. And the big thing with that is Peter was such a linchpin and such a kind of like a motivating factor in Civil War because he switches sides, right? He starts off on Tony's side. And that's how he gets the Iron Spider, right? So like the Iron Spider that we see in the MCU, he got the Iron Spider because when he joined forces with Tony Stark built him the Iron Spider suit, and it was like the sewer scene in the comic where it was like Peter goes down to go fight with Steve, and Steve convinces him that he's fighting for the wrong side, and then Peter switches sides, and that's also when we got the Punisher, and everybody was like, well, we don't want to work with you because you take it too far,
right?
You know, so I mean, like there's a lot that happened in the comic that we didn't get in the movie, but the way that they did the movie, it was still really well done, you know, and it made you care about this. Like the Sokovia Accords were a good stand-in for the Superhuman Registration Act.
Yeah, I always felt that Mutant Registration Act tied into that, and I think we'll eventually get that from the Sokovia Accords and mutants are introduced into the MCU later on, is that they'll be rebranded as the Mutant Registration Act.
Yeah, and we're gonna get Senator Kelly at some point,
right?
Like even before X-Men, I think they're gonna start introducing Senator Kelly at some point, and Bolivar Trask, and like all those guys that are like that have like, you know, contractor power.
Oh, you know, if they're making Sentinels, they're going to be from Stark Technology.
They probably will, honestly.
So with Geek Saga, and Tater, and myself, and Phil, and Graveyard, what was your vote?
Civil War. It's 5-1. It's 5-1 Civil War.
Who voted for Thor?
Cam.
And I'm not against you on that. I just felt like Civil War was a better property. Love and Thunder was a really good movie.
Yeah. All right. So then Civil War's moving on. I'm going to pit with the upcoming movie. I'm going to pit 1 and 2 of themselves versus each other. Guardians of the Galaxy.
You're going to say Guardians 1 versus Guardians 2?
Yes.
I'm gonna go Guardians 1. To me, it was just a little more memorable. I think it just had better scenes. Yeah.
I also go with Guardians 1 just because the entire family aspect that we got out of that movie was what defined that entire like series, right? Like the series of movie was that them coming together as a family.
Right.
You know, and kind of like those relationships and the way they built those relationships. I felt like then also this was the movie that this is the little movie that could, right? Nobody thought that this was going to be a thing. And then when it came out, it was like, this is
It blew
amazing.
people away.
Right. You know, to the point where this literally the guy who runs DC wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that movie.
Yup.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Chad,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, I'm doing Guardians Galaxy 1 as well.
That's 3. Say one, Tater.
I mean, do you feel like they did Ego dirty though?
I don't know if I feel like they did Ego dirty because it was a very different Ego the Living Planet. They also changed the fact that that Peter's dad isn't what was his name? He had another like weird like normal name that was like spelled weird.
Unanimous. It's unanimous.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Guardians 1.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, okay.
But I mean, like it was a weird but like good way to do Ego the Living Planet, like, to make him an avatar rather than him just being like a giant base that was a planet. You know,
I mean, yeah. So yeah, definitely Guardians got this. All right. So next we have Doctor Strange versus Captain America: The First Avenger.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I go Doctor Strange. I really liked the First Avenger. That was the movie that kind of like sucked me in. Like Iron Man made me like curious. First Avenger sucked me right into it. And it was just because we got, for all the hate that got, it did give us a very faithful Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For me, Cap was kind of a slow burn. It was a good story, but I felt like at parts it kind of just drug on. I'll still go back and watch it again and again.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely got its memorable moments. But yeah, Doctor Strange kept me involved all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, it never lost me. So
yeah, Doctor Strange was really well done. It was the first time they kind of dived into the weirdness. You know,
and the whole bargain with Dormammu, that was so well done.
That's probably the only thing I didn't like about that movie.
Oh, that was great.
No, not the bargain part, because that was good. But that we didn't get a full version of Dormammu. Like we got the kind of like
we never got a full Galactus either.
I was just gonna say it's like Galactus in Fantastic Four. Like, you know, you got this shitty half version of Galactus. Like I wanted full on flaming head. Yeah, I wanted like a full on flaming head. You know, Dormammu. You know, the dude with the dude that looks like Onslaught with a giant body and the flaming head.
Yeah,
that guy. That's who I wanted. I wanted a good version of Dormammu.
But if we have Cleo, if Charlize Theron is Cleo, the niece of Dormammu, then we're probably gonna get Dormammu.
Right, and that's kind of what gave me a little more faith. Just like, you know, when they said that after Iron Man 3, when they said that there was a real Mandarin, I was like, oh, I'm excited to see what the real Mandarin's going to be like. Like, you know, they're with Cleo, who is his wife in the comics. But the fact that he's meeting his wife and that we are definitely going to get, we have to get Dormammu. Like, even as a minor character, but like getting that full version of Dormammu. I'm also still waiting on a by the hoary host of Hoggith. But I mean, you know, he hasn't said it yet, and it's like that's your freaking catch line in the comics, dude. Like, how come they haven't done it yet?
Yes. So with only Say Wong, by the way, voting for Captain, it's 5 for Doctor Strange, 1 for Captain. So Doctor Strange is moving on.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Oh boy, this is gonna be a tough one. Next one.
I think it's hilarious that, like, since Phil and I are like striking the same pose, I look like the cheap white Wish version of him. Oh God. 4 is on discount. Woo!
He's touching his own face. How's he doing that?
It's so pretty.
Stroking of the beard. All right.
I mean, one next year, or sooner.
My beard used to be that long. When I first met Jackie, my beard was that long.
We're all gonna dive into that beard when you get here.
Yeah.
Right now, it's full on in there.
Yeah.
Now,
All right.
Jackie cried when I first cut my beard, when I first cut it down to what it is now. And I've had it like this short ever since. But what's funny is now she will not let me grow it back out again. Like she will remind me like, your beard's getting long, you need to go shave it.
She doesn't want to experience that sadness again. She doesn't want to say goodbye twice.
Like she said, because she's used to this now. So she doesn't really like change. So it's like, me coming back with my full beard again. She wouldn't like it.
Oh, just like I made you sad with my picture that I shared on Facebook.
Oh, that picture, I was like, I didn't know you had a face under that beard. I thought it was just another beard under your beard.
What was the terminology you used? Blasphemy?
It's blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Well, the more you cover the face, the better. So I'll do what I can.
You are a handsome man. Get out of here with that.
All right. So yes, Spider-Man: No Way Home versus Black Panther.
No Way Home. That's the latest one, right?
Yeah.
With the three.
Yeah.
3 Spider-Mans.
I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man because I just had the best experience in that movie. Not to say that Black Panther wasn't good, because I freaking loved Black Panther, but but Tobey Maguire coming back and just all the Spider-Mans and I'm gonna give it to No Way Home, but not by much. I mean, if No Way Home, Black Panther's like right there.
Yeah, so we have Cam and Geek saying Spider-Man. Say Wong saying he's tossing a coin if he had one. Yeah.
Nah, and I mean that this is a fairly difficult one for me because Black Panther was a movie that changed the game.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time that we got a villain with extreme substance. Right? Because before that, villains were very one-dimensional. That was kind of the problem that a lot of people had with the MCU, was you had a lot of villains that kind of just were there, but they weren't like really, like anything that people could like get behind. And then we get Michael B. Jordan playing Killmonger,
which was remarkable,
right? And Eric Killmonger, the way that he portrayed that character. It's the first time you get a villain that was doing the right thing, was doing the wrong thing, but for the right reasons.
Right.
And it was just kind of like, like you really felt for him. You really felt like you halfway through the movie or halfway through their fight scenes. You almost felt like, hold on, am I supposed to be rooting for Black Panther or for Killmonger? And Killmonger is a major villain in the comics.
Yeah.
Yes. We also got Manape, which they said that they'll never actually call him Manape, but I'm forgetting his name right now. The guy who plays M'Baku. He's actually said that it would be an honor to actually be Manape, because the thing is that if you look at the character and the way that the character was written, on the surface you can see it as being something that's offensive, but if you look at the culture and you look at the way that the character is portrayed, that character is supposed to be modeled after a silverback, and he literally is nothing but power.
I was going to say he literally embodies the word strength.
Right. And that's the whole point of Manape, is that he embodies strength and power. So I mean, like he's not David Kaluuya. David Kaluuya was the other guy. But he said that he would not be offended if he actually got a chance to actually be Manape. And actually powers and everything like that, so that he could fight.
Beard, what's
Black
your
Panther.
vote? Because I think you're going to be breaking a tie here.
I'm definitely doing No Way Home, because I think this was our test into bringing back old heroes from past previouses for Secret Wars.
Yes.
They've also announced that a lot of so now officially They haven't done it in the MCU yet, but they've announced officially that all the X-Men movies are a part of the multiverse.
Yeah.
So, like they exist within the multiverse.
That's gonna make casting hard for a new bunch of X-Men.
No, so it's not going to be a problem just because they're already establishing that they with Spider-Man that it doesn't have to be the same person in every universe.
That's true. Even
Right.
though Patrick Stewart is the perfect Xavier.
Oh, he is, but Patrick Stewart's are also at the point where he's way too old to carry the franchise.
No.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you do have to get somebody who can bring that same amount of gravitas. But I mean, you know, same thing where what's his name? Wolverine.
Oh, Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman has said that like he's coming back for this one movie just because there's no way that he can continue training himself and putting himself through what he does when he's Wolverine for another set of movies.
Yeah, but I mean, he also said that if they were to do X-Men versus Avengers, he'd come back no matter what for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, that makes No Way Home with 4 and Black Panther with 2. Like I said, that was a hard one just because Black Panther was great, but they tied in the previous Spider-Mans perfectly. And they gave redemption arcs to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
They did.
Yeah.
They actually told stories. They found a way to fix the problems with the previous movies and addressed a lot of the plot holes that people were just like, oh, they didn't, you know, there were these plot holes in these movies, and they addressed them in this movie so that everything would make sense. And I thought that was genius. It's hard for me just because No Way Home was a good movie, but Black Panther is one of those movies that kind of defined a portion of an era. So,
but you know, at the end of this No Way Home, we got the way Spider-Man should be. Unknown. They did it perfectly to me for that. But like I said, I love Black Panther too.
So next lineup.
This is gonna be a hard one. Just raise your hand if you think Eternals beats Endgame.
Absolutely not.
Endgame, okay, so next one.
Endgame for sure is gonna win that one.
Yes.
Rolling.
Yeah. Let's have the chat. You know, if somehow the chat comes up with 7 votes for Eternals,
we'll see what happens with this. Mainly because we've been upset before.
Well, hold on. Let me see if I can do this right. I'm gonna cast a summoning spell. The Rock is part of the Eternals. Come vote. The Rock sucks.
The Rock does suck. That's 3. Yeah. Sewong just says no.
I think he's saying is Eternals better than Endgame, and he's responding.
No, it's not. It's not. Endgame has it. All right.
Moving forward.
Infinity War versus Multiverse of Madness.
Hard. Multiverse of Madness, again, really well done in the way that they kind of portray almost the horror element of things and kind of messing with the multiverse a little bit. Plus, finally getting America Chavez and her powers and they talked about how iffy it was going to be to bring her in because of her specific power set, and they executed it perfectly. You know, her literally punching stars into another universe looks so good in this movie, way better than when you hear it on paper, right?
Yeah.
But Infinity War, in my opinion, was the best movie of the first phase, or the culmination of the first 3 phases of the first saga. Sorry.
Yeah.
Infinity War, as much as everybody loves Endgame, because there is a lot of heart and emotion in Endgame, Infinity War was my movie of all those, because we finally get a movie where the bad guy wins. The bad guy is a complete force to be reckoned with, and you know, like they made Thanos every bit of the monster that he needed to be.
Right.
It's a bad ending that everybody loved.
Yes.
You can't do that often.
Like HBO has failed at that so many times with their originals. I'm gonna go Infinity War, but I mean marginally.
As much as he wants to vote for Pizza Papa, my vote will be for Infinity War.
Well, my conundrum, right?
Yeah, is that Pizza Papa's in the movie, and it's also one of your favorite directors, and it's like, oh man, there's that, but Infinity War is that good of a movie.
Oh, and the off chance, Bruce Campbell, you're listening to this, and then when I see you in 12 days, you get me on it. I'm doing Infinity War. It's I love Multiverse Madness. I love Bad Window. What was that?
He would appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I mean, he always gets paid though. So.
Can't deny that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all across the board. Infinity War. Yeah, all for the reasons that Phil said. Spot on.
Yup. Next.
Thor Ragnarok. Sorry. No. Thor versus Quantumania.
Thor, the first movie, Thor?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Quantumania. Let's just mix it up a little bit.
Spicy.
A little bit of a difficult one again for me, just because I do like the Shakespearean aspect of Thor. But again, for all the hate that Quantumania got, we got a really good King the Conqueror in that.
Freaking, I didn't think any of that movie was bad. I loved Quantumania.
Yeah. King the Conqueror in Quantumania was amazing. It was great. Everything about that character he showed why a character that is physically not as strong as Thanos can be more of a threat than Thanos.
I think you just triggered Geek Saga, dude. I think you legitimately just triggered.
Yeah.
He's gonna reach through the screen and choke you.
Yeah.
Hi, it's my premiere, mommy. She's here.
I'm getting there. There we go. Apparently, same one is voting Ant-Man 3. So
no, he was saying that his vote is for Thor 1. He said because he in his first comment he said he wasn't wowed by Ant-Man. He meant to say Ant-Man 3, but he put Ant-Man 2.
Okay, yes.
Where does that put us on the vote?
Well, we have now with Mezzo there. Anyone else say Thor?
Hey, Geek Saga Eugene, bring it.
Oh shit!
I will kick your MP ass.
Hey, I'm here, I'm referee.
Yeah. we'll go. I will kick that MP ass.
Couple K.
Yeah, he's coming for you. So we have 3 for Thor, and you guys both say Quantumania.
Yeah, I said Quantumania. What do you think there?
Thor is a hard watch. It really is.
Some parts of it for me is. Some parts of it.
I don't know. It wasn't that hard of a watch for me.
I'd rather rewatch Quantumania than Thor. So that's why. So
where are we at?
With Tater jumping in here, Thor wins.
Okay.
And he's bringing and Geek Side's bringing the cuffs.
Woo.
Hey, don't you threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, his good time's already here, damn it.
Exactly.
All right, so with Thor barely winning over Quantumania,
let's go.
Ant-Man and the Wasp versus Winter Soldier. I mean, I don't know if that's even a question.
Say again.
Ant-Man and the Wasp versus Winter
Soldier.
Oh, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's there's not much of a competition for me on that. Again, Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't a bad movie. The Wasp was completely badass in that movie, and we got to see way more of her skill versus the cleverness that Ant-Man has. But Winter Soldier, I mean,
rewatchability.
Yes,
rewatchability. I would rewatch Winter Soldier more than I would Ant-Man and the Wasp. Although I love the Ant-Man series. I do. I really
Yeah.
do. Mezzo,
Mezzo.
stop it.
Yeah.
I haven't met Mezzo yet in person, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh,
That'll be fun when you meet her.
She's
awesome.
going to squeeze my face and never let go. She's going to be like, "Oh my god,
That Geek Saga, that is a hard one for you.
What's a twist?"
So Cam's saying Winter Soldier. I'm saying Winter Soldier.
All right, Bucky, it's all you, baby.
You both voted Winter Soldier?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely Winter Soldier.
All right. So
Bucky moves on.
Unless we have 5 in the chat.
Yeah. me, Geek Saga. I am. Just not showing you.
I'll greet you as my son. Uh-oh.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Say Wong's like, you guys are terrible. Stop.
Stop it. Can't help.
Stop it.
All right. Well, unless anyone, unless he's asked, Say Wong means who we're asking about. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp versus Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
I don't think Winter Soldier is not going to win. So let's call it at Winter Soldier, shall we?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next up is Thor Ragnarok versus Shang-Chi.
Oh, shit.
Ragnarok. I answered that so quick.
Yeah.
No hate thrown. Just Ragnarok.
I broke Phil. I broke Phil.
You good, dude?
I don't know.
You know what I love about being here? I can be loud, unlike my own house where I sound like this all the time. And then I'm checking to see if anybody's awake.
Yeah, you don't got to worry about that.
Oh, that's just pill talk, baby.
If anything, Jackie just thinks we're weird. It's fine. Not like it's not like that's not true.
Ooh, Kai Mommy says Shang-Chi.
Just Shang-Chi's so
She's
good.
biased to martial arts because you are a martial artist. You have a black belt you haven't told us about yet.
A black belt in Premiere.
There you go. That's
Yes. Yes, Mommy.
Meto doesn't. She doesn't realize that we're.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Hallmark moment.
it's happening.
It is.
The best part is she's probably already recording this.
There
This is going to be our YouTube short.
you go. She actually is a first degree black belt. Called it.
Meto, first degree black belt in what?
Kick your ass a foo.
Kick ass of food. You said,
All right.
Florida Man is wreaking havoc in Cali. I already started with karaoke last night.
Oh, the feedback. My God.
That wasn't my fault.
at the beginning of the
That shit was
episode.
not my fault.
I took.
Mike's picking me up right now.
Oh, Taekwondo. Ooh, we got to spar. I haven't done Taekwondo in years. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
I am a black belt in Taekwondo.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I started in Taekwondo and I moved on to Muay Thai.
Mhm.
Oh, elbows and knees.
Elbows and
Ouch.
knees.
Sagat.
We're good.
All right. So I think that we have then. Did you guys?
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
I voted Thor.
Yeah.
Just Ragnarok is such a good movie in general. Again, it's kind of how it was with Civil War, right? I was talking about it doesn't really follow the storylines that it's based on, but it does it in a way where it's so watchable and so good.
Mhm.
And the explanation for how we get Planet Hulk is like it's very believable in the MCU, which they took it further, and we got more Planet Hulk in She-Hulk because his son showed up, and it's like, oh, we get like a whole fucking Planet Hulk going on right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, supposedly that's supposed to be leading into World War Hulk, but that's all rumors right now.
How much time we have for the rest plus pluggables
What time is it right now?
plus a restroom break?
Oh, we got about 9 minutes right now, so let's knock out this one.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with Thor Ragnarok as much as I love Shang-Chi. Because again, Shang-Chi was a really good movie in my eyes. We finally got a redemption for the Mandarin, and got like a version of the Mandarin that was formidable. And I like what they did with the rings. Instead of it being 10 rings of power on his fingers, they gave him traditional rings around his arms and gave him like straight up power. And it's
right,
like,
so he would just have to do that.
Right. Right. So it's like I enjoyed, what they did with the Mandarin. They made him every bit of the threat that he would be if they would have put him in there earlier and actually fought Tony Stark. But it's like, obviously we lost Tony Stark, so we can't get that matchup that we want of the Mandarin versus Iron Man.
Yes.
But at the same time, we got Korg.
Yeah.
Freaking ghosts, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Valkyrie.
We got I mean, Korg is one of my favorite characters. And it's just because everything about that character is just executed perfectly.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely Ragnarok, because Ragnarok is what Thor needed to breathe life into. Can you imagine the Shakespearean? Yes, we got him in Avengers, but in Endgame or Infinity War, we had the more lighthearted Thor from it. And I think he became a better character in the MCU because of Ragnarok.
Yeah, and again, we got all the Kirby weirdness that we needed.
Yes.
Like it's definitely something that we needed in the MCU, was to embrace that Jack Kirby weirdness, and we got all of that from Ragnarok. And I mean, it started with
New Master. Thor, got a thunder. I'm gonna reach into this tube.
New Master.
I love it. It's so professional about New Master.
Yeah,
Thor,
me,
got a
God of Thunder. I'm gonna reach through this video game.
Yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok has this.
All right.
But yeah, Shang-Chi was a fantastic movie.
I'm still on that line. What do you say? He goes, hey Thor, it's this. He goes, it's this guy again, Noob Master. He called me a dickhead again.
You know who Noob Master is?
I forgot who it was. I know
I'm not young enough to know.
No, it's somebody.
It's the long haired guy that does the commercials for Xbox. That he was also in. He switched over to the MCU, interacting with Falcon. He's trying to buy like a new Apple device, I believe.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
That's Noob Master.
That's funny.
I don't remember him. It's weird.
He's the guy that, when they went to the Apple store and she was trying to download something on one of their computers.
Yeah.
In Civil War, the guy like walked up and asked him if they needed help with the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
that guy.
Yeah, he's Noob Master. Yeah, they said that he's Noob Master. So
that's
so who wins this one? I'm assuming Thor Ragnarok.
I think so.
Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I mean, Thor beat out Far From Home and Shang-Chi. That's pretty impressive.
We got pretty far on this one.
Yeah,
today.
is that it for that side of the bracket, or are we moving to the next round, or do we still have more in this?
We're picking our top 8. So if we do three more, we have 3 more to get finish this bracket off though.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so we're done with this round, right? So we're going into the top 8.
Oh, we're making the top 8.
Making the top 8. So we got 3 more before we get finished into the top 8.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, this will probably end up getting finished next week. Again, next week's show is going to be a all bracket show.
Yes.
And it is going to be a crap ton of fun. So get ready for that, guys. We do have another show we're about to start getting into right now over on Kyber Cave Gaming. Guys, if you're into Mario, Graveyard.
Oh my God.
Yes. Graveyard is going to be playing Mario Maker 2 while myself and the Fours, and is anybody else going to be on that show?
Mrs. Fours will be with us.
Mrs. Fours, we're going to be commenting, and you guys know how much fun we have with all of our commenting. No, it's me, Mario.
Yes, you guys get to see the outtakes from Retro Alcove. I edit out to make it look better at the games.
Yes, Sam. Yes, it was. Oh my God.
Oh shit! Run now, Yoshi. You have it to run.
And say Wong, there's only 2 Mario Makers. Just so.
And there's only one Mario RPG.
So with that being said, before we get the hell out of here and go on to the next thing, Fours, give everybody else any pluggables aside from your distance nerding duties you got going on here.
All right. So you can find the work that I did on saberfont.com. I am a sound font creator for lightsabers that you can purchase at kybercave.com. Again, go purchase a saber from kybercave.com, then go to saberfont.com and get yourself a sound font from Fours FX Saber Sounds. Also check out my friends Juan Sith and Harry Solo fonts respectively. You could also find me over at Kyber Cave Productions. That's my home channel. And we do all the shows. I mean, Graveyard and I are just about, if we're not producing the show, we're on the show, we're playing on the show, we're commenting on the show, we're on every freaking show there is, minus Saber Rattle. And guess what? He and I are doing Saber Rattle this week. So
yes, we are.
It's about them apples.
Oh, it's going to be all kinds of fun.
Moving on.
We're just taking over all the shows for us.
We are. It's about to be the Graveyard and Fours channel.
Grave, tell everybody about any other pluggables you got.
Besides seeing me 4 days a week over at Kyber Cave Productions, I am the co-host of the Mostly Pod Out at Night Mostly podcast. We release new episodes every.
Mostly.
Yes, there is. We release new episodes every Wednesday. Mind you, in October, we do as many as we possibly can. So you can find us anywhere on social media at Pod Out at Night. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll release our upcoming episodes and links trees to our stuff like that. And coming really, really, really soon, we're going to be part of Comic-Con Radio. With all our stuff is going to be going there probably in the next couple of weeks here. So make sure to check out for that.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. I'm your boy, Young Phil, the one of the hosts of the Distance Nerding podcast. You can find me on all the Distance Nerding places. Of course, on Mondays, we got our game streams going on. I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy with Peter Underbottom, the character that was created by our lovely beard in the chair Graveyard.
Yes.
And then and he is a Death Eater 100%. So it is great. And then on top of that, on Tuesdays, we've got the Download, the show where we talk about news, rumors, trailer reactions, reviews, all that kind of fun stuff. And then, of course, the show you're watching right now from 6 to 8 on Thursdays, where we do interviews and I build Lego and we have all kinds of fun stuff. So just finished the DeLorean, guys. I'll be announcing what I'm building next because I have to look at the list and see what you guys voted on. But I'll be building something next here. The next interview that we're doing is going to be with David Chung. So again, we were supposed to do an interview with him last week, but he had to postpone because of an audition, which I hope he got the part. And I can't say what movie it was for, but I mean, I'm excited because if he gets that part, then I'll be very excited for that. We'll be able to say we know somebody who's in a movie that I'm very attached to. But aside from that, guys, that is it from us.
Well, there's one more thing I want to say.
Oh, you want to do it?
Yeah, freak out. I want to do it.
Okay.
I'm probably not going to be able to do this more than one or two more times, but ladies and gentlemen, we got merch, people.
We got merch, people. Beer, 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 beer.
This hat right here, you can purchase this hat from Distance Nerding. I actually tried it on earlier, and it looks weird on me, so I can't buy it. I'm just kidding. it did. It looked like it was like all weird and crooked and stuff on me. So
Yeah, look at the black one that he has.
This angelic greatness. You can get Distance Nerding merch direct from this house.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Exactly.
How
Ladies
much
and gentlemen,
everything?
$35 for per hat, or $30 if you get multiples. We do have 2 gray hats left if you guys are interested in those hats. Of course, if you are interested in a shirt, shirts are $25 if I've got to ship it to you, $20 if you're local to the Sacramento area. Mainly because I will drive it to you instead of shipping it to you. So,
right. And if you live in Florida, it's $40 because we don't like you.
Yeah, well, Florida man and such. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, you can follow us on all the social medias at on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook Live, Discord,
and OnlyFans, where you can see Aaron Watson's feet and mandals,
and they are the most wonderful mandals that there are. And of course, MySpace, Yahoo, GeoCities, all those places, all at Distance Nerding. We just said that like very simultaneously.
Well, yeah, because I'm the Wish version of you. So
very
synced. It works. Ladies and gentlemen, may the 4s be with you.
God.
And we will see you over at Kyber Cave Productions.
Oh God! All right, it's time for the dance party. Go ahead and hit that button on the bottom right. There we go. Grab anything, dude. Anything in the room.
Distance Nerding.
Barack says.
We'll see everybody on Kyber Cave.